If you're learning DevOps, cloud, or want a high-paying job, Kubernetes is not an option anymore. But most people fail to learn Kubernetes because they jump directly into commands without understanding why Kubernetes exists. In this video, I'll make Kubernetes simple, and by the end of this video, you will understand the big picture of it. The fun fact, why do we call Kubernetes K8? So that's K, and then if you count letters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then at the end S. So if you exclude these two letters, you're going to have 8. So that's why K8. Instead of just learning theory, just try to understand why we need Kubernetes. So I do have an EC2 machine. I installed Docker in it and Docker Compose. I'm just going to run this Docker Compose up -build. This one is going to build application, and then if I visit on port number 3000, so once it is ready, you're gonna see over here. So I'm gonna deploy the same application on this Kubernetes cluster as well, and just don't worry about these commands. You're gonna learn everything end of this series. So let's apply that file. So I'm exposing this on node port. Get svc if I run in pizza namespace. That's a 32529. Okay, let's grab it. Let's open it. Now you got this application from K8 Kubernetes, and then this one from EC2 machine, the same application. But I deployed here on an EC2 machine. I installed Docker in. So I got a single machine. I installed Docker in it. If I run the command docker ps, and then what if I try to stop this container? That's our API gateway. So if I stop the container, docker stop, that's been stopped now. If I refresh it, I won't be able to see it. Now if I start it, and then if I refresh it now, it's working now. Now let's do the same in Kubernetes. If I run the command kget po-n, that's pizza hub. So I already deployed a couple of machines. In Kubernetes, you can get a load balancer. I'm gonna explain what are the advantages of Kubernetes. Then you can compare with Docker. So now I'm just gonna delete this pod. Okay, pod is nothing but a container, you can say. Not really a container, but a pod can have multiple containers inside it. So for the just for simplicity's sake, I'm calling pod as a container. Delete pivo, and that T at the end I missed it, and that's in pizza namespace. So you can see it here. It's been created 78 seconds ago. Now if I rerun the command, now you can see it's created just one container, another pod over here just 35 seconds ago. This one 2 minutes 30 seconds ago. So before discussing all these things, first try to understand what is a cluster basically. So cluster is nothing but a group of computers, maybe they are physical or virtual machines. If they work together, if they connected together, you can call them as a cluster. Okay. In my case, let's assume we are using EC2 machines. All these are EC2 machines. 4 EC2 machines we got, and then they connected together because you install Kubernetes in them, so they can work together. So that's a cluster. That's what cluster means. So in Kubernetes, you're going to have as many nodes as you want. So this is a node. Okay, every machine is a node, you can say. So they work together. How? Just imagine you ask Kubernetes to create 2 pods. So you can check it here. So we have 2 parts for each service, each microservice, API gateway part. If you delete one, we deleted earlier, it created one more immediately. So that's what Kubernetes does. So if you ask Kubernetes to create 2 containers, basically we're gonna create a deployment with 2 replicas, we can say 2 parts. So it's gonna make sure 2 parts will be running all the time. If you delete one, it's gonna create one more immediately. So imagine that your Kubernetes cluster created 2 parts, one on this node and one on this node. If this part goes down, it's gonna create immediately. And then what if this node itself goes down? Okay, if this EC2 machine goes down, what Kubernetes is going to do? It's gonna put this container immediately on a different node. So that's gonna do this for us automatically. So we don't need to do anything. So that's what Kubernetes does. So in that way you're going to have high availability as well. So if I go back to this PPT, you will understand better. Now we just seen that automated scaling, because I'm going to show you that. So if you go to this application, and then if I copy this, I have this low cost say load tester. Basically I'm just going to put that and then start it. If I go back, so if I run that command, let's say watch kubectl, now you can see at the moment you got only two parts, so two containers we got, but we have HPA, horizontal part scaling, horizontal part scaling. So our Kubernetes is automatically gonna deploy new parts for us. So now you can see you got four, because that load increased. We did this with this application. That's why it immediately created two more parts. Of course, we deployed that it till it can go up to 10 parts. So let's say kget HPA -n pizza hub. Just don't worry about all these commands. By the end of the series, you're gonna master all these commands. So you can see it can go up to maximum of 10 parts. Now it has 4 parts, because, and soon it's gonna delete those parts as well, because we just reduced that load. Soon it's gonna terminate that. So that's how you can achieve automated scaling. And then self-healing. If you delete one container, one pod, it's gonna automatically create a new pod. So let's see that. So if I run the command, okay, get pivot again. So now you got 4. I'm just gonna delete one of those. Okay. Let HPA delete the 2 parts, then I'll do this. Then you will understand, because we reduce the traffic. It's automatically gonna delete these couple of maybe. Yeah, let's delete this one. If I delete menu service, okay, delete PO-n, that's in Pizza Hub. Now it's gonna delete. You can see these parts were created 6 minutes ago. That's been deleted now. If I rerun that command, get PO, now you can see the menu service created 36 seconds ago. So Kubernetes automatically created that. Soon it's gonna delete these API gateway service as well, because reduce traffic. So now that's how we can achieve self-healing. Even if the node fails behind the scenes, it's gonna automatically replace that part in a different node. And load balancing, I'm gonna show you that, because automatically load balancing happening already. So if I run that get PO, maybe I'm just gonna create a new deployment just for the example sake. Let's say create deploy nginx -image nginx, and then I'm gonna say replicas, 2 of them. Okay, that's been done. Now I'm just gonna expose. Don't worry, I'm repeating, don't worry about these commands. Okay, expose deploy nginx, that's on target port, let's say 80 port 80 as well. I'm just gonna give type equal to node port. Okay, now we got that. Okay, get svc, just to show you load balancing. Now we got the service on 31809. So let's open that. That's 31809. 31809. Now it's going to one of the parts. Just to prove you that it's load balancing happening, if I run the command get PO, you got these parts. I'm just gonna get into one of the parts, exec -it, and the pod ID, and then -bash. So if I get into this directory, I'm not expecting you to understand all of these things, but for now just try to understand how load balancing is happening. I'm gonna replace this, let's say h1 hello part 2. So that's been done now. If I go back, this one, if I refresh it, okay, now you can see it's forwarding to one pod, another pod we got this information. So this proves that that's automatically distributing traffic between them. So you can achieve load balancing as well. And then easy role deployments. If you want to have a different version, you can simply do that. And then container orchestration. Why we call this Kubernetes container orchestration tool? It's going to manage containers by itself. So it's going to stop containers, start containers, delete containers. So it's going to do it automatically by following our instructions as per the declarative things. So it's going to do that for us. So that's why we call it container orchestration tool. So Docker basically containerization tool. So for this course, you need to know at least how to write Docker files. That's why in production or in real time, that's what you do. You're gonna write a Docker file, then you're gonna create images out of it, and then you're gonna push it to your registry. And efficient resource utilization. So imagine we are deploying these on a AWS EKS cluster or EC2 machines by ourselves. Then in that case you're gonna make use of that resources efficiently. That's how you can save cost as well. Security and isolation. We got RBACs, role-based access control, and security management, network policies, and many other things. So that way you can achieve production grade security as well. And multi-cloud. You can deploy this Kubernetes cluster on any cloud, even on-premise as well, even on Raspberry Pi device as well. So by using K3s, we're going to see that as well. So that's a no vendor login, so you don't need to log into any vendor. And then declarative. So you're going to declare that I need. We just did that with by creating a deployment with replicas, two replicas. Then Kubernetes is going to make sure that that many parts is going to run all the time. So that's what declarative means. You're going to write it, you're going to tell Kubernetes, it's going to make sure that. And then you're going to get high-paid jobs. Kubernetes, there is a lot of skill shortage in Kubernetes. So if you learn it, if you master it, then you're going to get paid high. Don't try to remember all of these things, because once you learn Kubernetes, then automatically you're going to understand all of these things. So that's all I wanted to cover in this video. Thank you so much for watching. By the end of the series, trust me, you're going to learn, you're going to master Kubernetes. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching.